メイドインヘブン。人に親切にするのは自分も親切にしてもらうためだ。これでも食らえ。
What is going on, guys? Rogue TCG here, bringing you another Master Duel deck profile. This is going to be Ritual Dogmatika. This deck is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun taking away opponents' extra decks, OTKing people when they least expect it, and just the availability of resources this deck has is just almost unmatched. That's enough yapping. Let's get to the deck profile. For hand traps, we have our Master Duel special. We have to have triple Maxi and a triple Ash Blossom. Monsters, we have triple Dogmatika Ecclesia, can't be destroyed by monster special from the extra. And if there's a special monster on the field, you can special this from your hand. The monster that was special in the field has to be from the extra. And if it's no more special, you can add a Dogmatika card from your deck to your hand. You can't special cards from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. We're never looking to special summon cards from the extra deck, so we're not too concerned about the restriction on this card. We have one Gamsail the Sea Turtle Kaiju. This is to get rid of problematic cards our opponent controls. If it's in our hand, we can use it as ritual material if they don't have anything that we can use from their board to tribute Gamsail over, and it pairs very well with White Relic of Dogmatika, both getting rid of a monster and having a lot, relatively a lot of attack points to buff up our monsters. We are on double Dogmatika Fleur-de-Lis. During the main phase of a monster special from the extra deck is on the field, you can special summon this from your hand on a quickie. And then if you control another Dogmatika on board other than itself, you can negate the effects of a face-up monster, and that's on resolution of the summon. So this is very good for getting around that, the Valiance, or not the Valiance, the new VS card. It gets around the link very easily when they activate it, or if they have to activate in response to the Fleur-de-Lis, and it lets you put lots of damage on board. Because when a Dogmatika monster declares an attack, you can make all Dogmatika monsters you currently control gain 500 attack. That is permanent. So we are running 2, just so we can search it once or twice, or if we draw it. We are running 1 Maximus. This is going to be one of our main combo cards. You could always swap the ratios between Fleur-de-Lis and Maximus, in my opinion. You can special summon this card from your hand by banishing a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link from your grave. It banishes for cost, so it does get around the Bestials. During the main phase, on an ignition effect, you can activate this, send 2 monsters from different names with their extra to the grave. Your opponent sends 2 from their extra to the grave, so this helps weed out cards from their extra. Typically off of this, you're going to be sending some combination of Herald of the Arclight and Garua, Skull Knight, Intis, whatever you really need for that specific situation. This deck is very good at digging deep with Garua drawing 1, Farajit drawing, and then putting 1 back to the bottom. Arclight searching ritual cards from your deck to your hand, not once per turn. Titanic Cloud getting cards out of your deck on the end phase. Very good at cycling those cards. We are running 1 Nibiru just to fill space in the deck. It's just a good card, helps us against a lot of different matchups, such as Pearly if they play into it. We have White Relic of Dogmatika. You can ritual summon this with Dogmatikabre. If this is ritual summoned, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field, make one of those monsters gain attack equal to the other monsters. Level 8 or higher Dogmatika monsters you control can't be destroyed by battle, and if a monster is special summoned from the opponent's extra deck, except during the damage step, you can look at your opponent's extra and send a monster from it to the grave. So this lets us, if they special from the extra, while this is on board, we can selectively pick the card from their extra and take away, which is very good. Functions the same as Kashtira Unicorn, except it's a little bit worse because it would be sent into the grave and they're banishing face down, but you know, is what it is. We take what we can, but it's really good because it buffs up monsters on summon. You can chain block the Herald of the Arclight with it, because you can summon this off of a card in a Dogmatika Calamity by sending this from the extra to the grave and assign the triggers, and so where Herald's first and then White Relic is second, so they cannot Ash Blossom that. We are on 1 White Knight of Dogmatika. This is a flavor pick, not really a great card, however, it's just another ritual card that we can add off of Herald. We can add it off of, we cannot add it off pre-prep, however, that's perfectly fine, because this card is just very good, because we can just add it off of a lot of different cards. My favorite card of the deck, Dogmatika Albazoa, cannot be ritual summoned except by Dogmatika Calamity or another Dogmatika card effect. This being summoned off of Dogmatika Calamity is basically free, because we just send 1 5-headed dragon from our extra to the grave to get this guy for free. However, we can also summon this with Dogmatikabre as well, because it's pretty easy to fulfill that graveyard requirement for that card. Dogmatika monsters you control are unaffected by the activated effects of opponents' fusion, synchros, Xyz, and link monsters, so all the extra deck types as of right now. And during your main phase, you can make your opponent choose and apply one of these effects. For every 2 cards in your extra, send 1 card from your hand extra to the grave, or return all fusion, synchro, Xyz, and link monsters you control to the extra deck. Fun little fact, if they don't have any fusion, synchro, Xyz, or links on their board, they cannot select that as an option on Albazoa. So if you're activating this on turn 1 and they have 15 cards in their extra deck, they are going to have to send 7 cards from their extra deck or from their hand to the graveyard. And if they're a deck that really requires a lot of cards in the extra, they might be sending cards on their hand, so you're getting a lot of advantage off of this. That's the only effect on this card. However, it is a 4,000. That's basically makes all your Dogmatikas unaffected by extra deck monsters, so it's a very good card to just end your turn on. It makes them have to waste in-deck removal on it, like main deck cards. However, there is a lot of outs to this card, such as Cashier Fenrir just going to battle phase, so on and so forth. But that's what other cards in the deck are there to challenge. We are on 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, in case we are going second. We're on double prep rights. This can add White Relic, which is a valid reason to maybe up the amount of White Relic, maybe cut the Nibiru for another White Relic. You can actually do that right now. So this lets us get this, and then also, if you are on resolution, you can also add a ritual spell from your graveyard to your hand. So if you've already used your Dogmatic Calamity or your Dogmatic Abre, it lets you get it back from your graveyard to your hand, even though Ecclesia can do the same. But it lets you use your Ecclesia for something a little bit more worthwhile. Next, triple Nadir Servant. Best card in the deck. Send a monster from your extra to the grave. Add a Dogmatica monster or an Albaz from your deck to your graveyard. From your deck or grave to your hand that has less attack or equal than the monster sent to the grave. You cannot special monster from the extra deck, and you can only activate once per turn. Easiest combo, send Garua, Titanic Clad, any pop or anything. Add Ecclesia. If you already have Ecclesia, you can activate this to send an Arclight to grab the White Relic, and then Arclight can grab any other card that you need. Just a very, very powerful card. Next, triple Tactics Talents. A lot of our stuff in our deck can be ashed. Maxi, we can actually play through Maxi fairly well. Typically, we can end on just 1 summon and give them a card and just say go. But we can always draw 2. If they've drolled us, we can look at their hand and make them shuffle 1 back. And sometimes we can take control of a monster they control just to OTK them easier. 1 Triple Tactics Thrust, normal spell, Nadir Servant, normal trap, Dogmatic Punishment, good going first or second. Just a very powerful card. Harpy's Feather Duster is also a normal spell that we can search. Double Dogmatic Calamity. This can be this has to be used to ritual summon a Dogmatica Ritual. It can be used to summon a Dogmatica Ritual. You can tribute monsters from your hand or field whose levels are exactly equal to the ritual monster, or send a monster from your extra deck to the grave whose level is equal to the level of the ritual monster. For the rest of the turn, you can't special from the extra. You can only activate it once per turn. We're not summoning from the extra, so that doesn't affect us. Very powerful because Albazoa is a 12, Five-Headed Dragon's a 12, White Relic of Dogmatic is a 4, both Intis and Herald of the Arclight are 4s, and White Knight of Dogmatica is an 8, while Psyframe Lord Omega is also an 8, as well as Titaniclad Ash Dragon. We have cards in our extra for every one of our rituals, so this is pretty much always going to be live, but we do have a ritual in hand. But then we also do have Dogmatic Abre. This lets us special a ritual from our hand or grave, and you can tribute monsters from your hand, field, or banish fusion synchro monsters from your grave, whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual. And if you have both White Knight of Dogmatica and White Relic of Dogmatica, you can look at either your extra or your opponent's and send one monster from them to the grave. So that is one of the reasons we are playing White Knight, just for the high roll on this card. However, all of our Dogmatica cards are very recurable from the graveyard, given prep rights, Nadir Servant, etc., etc. So we are very able to get that back. One of the best cards for the ritual deck that I think that makes this deck tick, Dogmatica Matrix. It is a continuous spell. When it's activated, add a Dogmatica Ritual monster or 1 Dogmatica Ritual spell from your deck to your hand. And if you're going second and your opponent controls a monster, you can also add a Dogmatica card from your deck to your hand. So this is, honestly, when you're going second, it's better to see than Nadir Servant, in my opinion, just because you can search both Albazoa and then Dogmatika Calamity, or you can search Ecclesia and Maximus, or you can search, let's say you already have one of these, you can search Calamity plus Maximus to send one from extra to the grave, and then banish that extra monster to send 2 more. So just a very powerful card. And then on the continuous spell, if you control Dogmatika Ritual, you can look at either player's extra and send one from it to the graveyard. So it just gives you a free send every turn, but it is a continuous spell, so it's only on your turns. However, just the amount of advantage you get off Matrix is very good. Double Call by the Grave, because we don't really want to get hand trapped, or let those hand traps resolve, rather. Triple Infinite Impermanence, and double Dogmatika Punishment. We want to open it, but we also do want to search it. Punishment, target face-up monster opponent controls, send 1 monster from the equal or higher attack from your extra to your grave, destroy the monster, and until the end of the turn, next turn, you can't special from the extra. Again, we're not specialing from the extra, but sending an Intis to pop 2 is very good. We have Skull Knight, which is Intis, but small. We have Ignister, we have Omega, we have big monsters like 5-headed dragons, so we can functionally pop almost anything. And we have Aggregator to pop and negate a card. Yeah, that's going to be the main deck. Now on to the extra. We are running double Elder Entity Intis. Main effect is irrelevant. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a card in the field, destroy it. I would be running 3, but I just need to get 23 more Craft Essence for it. The card that will replace is Fossil Warrior Skull Knight. All this is irrelevant. You can banish this card from your grave, target a monster on field, destroy it. You can only use it once per turn. It is an ignition, not a quickie, so not as great as Intis, but it is just a card you can just send there to store. It's like you can store an Intis. It's all right. We have 1 Garua, Wings of Resonant Life. Again, all this text up here is irrelevant. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can draw 1 card. Basically translates our Dogmatika Matrix into search 2, draw 1. Very powerful. Double Titanic Cloud the Ash Dragon, level 8, 2500. Onboard effect irrelevant. During the end phase, if this card's in the grave because it was sent there this turn, you can add to your hand or special summon 1 Dogmatika monster or Fallen of Albaz from your deck, and you can only use this effect once per turn. We are either always special summoning Ecclesia or adding Ecclesia for the next turn follow-up, or if we already have an access for follow-up, we can add a Fleur-de-Lis, or if we don't have one in hand, in order to access just another point of interaction on our opponent's turn. So we're running 2 of that. We are running double 5-headed dragon, just to have 2 12s in the extra if we need to do the Calamity more than once. If we need to pop something with punishment, we are going to be able to have that fodder in our extra. We're on Triple Herald of the Arclight when it's sent to the grave. I think I already went over this. Add a ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand. Good stuff. Wind Pegasus at Ignister. While this card is on the field or in the grave, you can banish this card, target a card your opponent controls, shuffle into the deck. And that's if another card you control is destroyed in battle or an opponent's card effect. So this lets us remove cards when our cards are removed. It's a good insurance piece that we can send off of, again, Dogmatika Matrix or Dogmatika Maximus. It's just good to have all these varied pieces of interaction in our extra so we can adapt our graveyard and our extra deck and the cards we send from our extra deck to the graveyard to our opponent's strategies. 1 Cyframe Lord Omega. If this card is in your grave, you can trigger 1 other card in the grave, shuffle both this and that into the deck, and that's it. So it lets us recycle our extra deck cards. So it just lets us, if let's say for example, if we've already used all of our Titanic Clads, we can send an Omega to put that Titanic Clad right back, so we can send that right back to the grave and get the beneficial effects once more. So that's going to be it for the cards that we can send from the extra deck to the grave for our Nadir Servant and for our Dogmatika Calamity. However, the next 2 cards are cards that we can send. Unfortunately, we actually can't send. Actually, we can't send Aggregator off of Punishment, off of Matrix, and off of our Maximus. We have 1 Tri-Brigade Farigite with the Baron Blossom. When it's sent to the grave, you can draw a card, place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of the deck. So it lets us put a card we don't want back in the deck, and lets us potentially get a card that we do want from our deck. And Aggregator. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 face-up card on the field and negate its effects until the end of this turn. Not just monsters, continuous spells, continuous traps, field spells, whatever. Who cares? Negate it. So it lets us just not have to read our cards, summon a white relic, and do a couple big numbers to our opponent's dome. concaving that shit in. Alrighty, and that's the deck profile. The deck play is very fun. Sometimes you do get hands where you look at it and you go, oh, great. Double white Relic of Dogmatika, Harpy's Feather Duster, called by an Imperm. I'm a set 2 and pass. Sometimes that does happen. That's what you kind of get yourself into when you're playing a deck, especially ritual decks that have 2 different halves to the deck, and you need to see certain cards in order to access them. But that's how it is. This deck is still very fun, and I will be building it in paper, and I will be providing a deck profile within the next week or so on it. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys still are, please follow, like, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.